Anyone who's participating in this program will walk away with a functional framework for how to sell.
Hi, everyone. I'm Erik VanDyck here with Walsh College, and today I'm joined with Erik Meier over at Sandler Training. Erik, thank you so much for being here.
Erik, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Erik with a K.
Should we acknowledge that and just start there? Two Eriks with a K?
You don't see it too often, do you?
No, very rarely.
Very rare. Very rare. So can you tell us a little bit about Sandler Training?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just to kick it off here.
So Sandler Training is a performance development organization, primarily focused on sales training, sales leadership training. So a lot of the clients that we work with, Erik, they kind of come in one of three buckets. So you've got individuals who are, good at what they do. They might be in some kind of business development or sales role. They're responsible for revenue, and they're in an organization, or they're an individual contributor. They don't have support in terms of training, coaching, development, the company that they work for. And so they'll work with us to, just get that support, right? A little bit of outside third-party feedback, ongoing training reinforcement. We help them grow and develop. Then you've got this kind of middle, small business, medium-sized business companies. We do a lot of work with those individuals and those organizations. In that case, often there's a gap between what the founder has learned to do, right, and their capacity and ability to transfer that into others.
Sure.
So they're kind of missing this process, and we come in and we add a sales process methodology that often will map up to a large degree in what they've figured out just through trial and fire, right? And so then they can scale up their team through that. We help with onboarding. We can really kind of grow that business. And then you've got the third structure, which is more of the larger organizations. Usually in those cases, they've lost touch with something that they probably put a heavy focus on at some point. So maybe a decade ago, 15 years, 20 years ago, they had some kind of training program where they developed a lot of their salespeople who are now the sales leaders. But then they wound it down and they kind of lost touch with it. And so we come back in there to re-engage the idea of ongoing continuous training, learning, and development.
Okay.
Yep.
That's great.
Yep.
That's great. So obviously I know you're a local guy as well. Can you talk a little bit about maybe your professional journey and how you got involved with Sandler? What led you to the current spot you're in?
So you want me to go all the way back?
Sure. Sure.
Yeah. So if I go, back to pre-college, I always liked the idea of entrepreneurship. I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't come from a family of entrepreneurs, but somewhere I just connected with it. It felt like something that I might want to do later on in life. Didn't know how to do it, right, or how to get into it. One of the first cracks at it was a dock installation business that a couple of buddies and I ran in college, where we didn't really do anything other than just put some flyers together and go pepper a lake over in West Michigan and see if anyone was willing to let us go wade out into frigid water in April and put some docks in.
Sure. So
we did that, and we took them out later on and made some good money, and that kept us from having to work in a restaurant all summer. And so that was kind of the first crack at it. Then you fast forward, when I got out of college, I started with Quicken Loans, which is now Rock. And when I was there, that's kind of the story where it really starts me on the journey to Sandler. I had a mentor there who ran the training and development part of that business, and they put a heavy focus on training and development, right? Everyone that came in went through deep programs, continuous ongoing training there. And I would go down and help out with some of the new hiring and onboarding there. And at that time, this was 2002 to 2007, we added thousands of new employees to that company. So that was always going on. Anyway, fast forward, ended up leaving there and got into another business with some friends that I had from Quicken. Did that for 2 years and just kind of took a pause. And I'd been lucky enough to do okay at that point. My wife had a job, and I came home one day and said, I think I need like a couple of months. I'm going to do like just kind of walk about and figure out what I want to do with the rest of my life, right?
Reset.
Yeah. So I was 27, and I just randomly got connected to Sandler. It just kind of showed up as I was looking around for different businesses, and I was trying to figure out, did I want to try to buy an existing company? Did I want to try to develop something purely from scratch? And somewhere along the way, I bumped into Sandler, and I was reminded of what I'd always loved. On one side, selling. I've just always enjoyed selling for whatever reason, but then training and developing people. And for my time in Quicken, that was always interesting. So with Sandler, I was able to pair those two together, and I started the company in 2010.
Got it.
Yeah.
I know I talked with Sheila. Troy Chamber obviously is here on campus now, and she tells the story about how you were one of the first members that she had sign up for the chamber with her. So
Yep.
she's loved your journey too, and we've talked a little bit about that in the past. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
No worries. 14 years later, right? Still here.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yep.
That's amazing. One of the more exciting announcements that we've had here at Walsh College in the last few months is the partnership that we will now have with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you could kind of give our audience a little bit of insight on what that program is and maybe talk through, some of the benefits of what that can help them with.
Yeah. So the program is really, it's an opportunity to come in and learn the foundational framework of what Sandler is as a sales methodology. And it's designed to be delivered in small bites, once a week over, what did we land on? Are we doing it for 11 weeks or 12 weeks?
10 weeks.
10 weeks.
10
Okay,
weeks
10
total,
weeks. So over 10 weeks, right? And, really, it solves the problem that I think a lot of people who are responsible for revenue generation, we call it sales people, right? But it's not always sales people. You could have professional service providers, you could have entrepreneurs. I mean, there's a responsibility to drive revenue. You are technically a salesperson to some degree, right? Even if your
Sure.
title and job isn't that. But it's to give these people a framework for selling. And without a framework for selling, I think what you find is the framework has been winging it. And that's only going to work when it works. When it's working well, you don't know how to replicate it. When it's not working well, it's very difficult to course correct it. So anyone who's participating in this program will walk away with a functional framework for how to sell.
Okay.
Yep.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, we're very excited. You can find out some more information about that on our website. The classes for this program start in April, so we are enrolling now for this offering. So thank you so much for that partnership.
Can I share a little more on that?
Sure, absolutely.
So, one of the things that's also probably important is there's this principle we use called the success triangle, Erik, and it's behavior, attitude, and technique. So if you can think about 3 points around a triangle. And the selling framework part is there's a lot of technique in there. What do you say? How do you say it? Some of that stuff. But we also spend a fair amount of time on the behavioral component, which is often really what's missing. What are you supposed to do, right? So what are the activities that put people in front of their ideal potential clients? What's that process look like? How do you build those plans? And then the A piece is attitude. And attitude is really about belief systems. So, how people see themselves conceptually. What are the thoughts that they have in their head? We call them head trash, right? Often there's some kind of roadblock there that's keeping people, even though they know they're supposed to do something, from being able to do it. And working through that and having a good toolkit to work through that is a key component to that program too.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. Very helpful information. I know we're very excited about that. We've got a lot of interest in that program, even in the last couple of weeks since we announced it. So
cool.
Should be awesome for us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. I'm excited for the partnership.
Yeah, absolutely. Many of you maybe know this already, but Erik is a good follow on social media. He has a lot of great content that he puts out there on LinkedIn and other platforms. So make sure if you can find him and follow him. I'm sure you'll pick up some great tips. I wanted to ask you, what would be for someone who's maybe early on in their sales career or entry level career that in any one of these positions that you could suggest to them, maybe a tip or two to kind of get them off on the right foot in that arena? Yeah.
It's going to sound self-serving, so I don't mean it to, but invest in yourself, right? If you're not going to invest in yourself quickly, you'll find yourself doing it later on in life after you've failed often enough to realize that it's probably something to do. So the best advice I could give to a young professional trying to figure out how to get at the top of his or her game, find programs to invest in that give you skill sets that allow you to build that toolkit, and just re-pour into that as often and frequently as you can. The better you get, the better you will find yourself.
Awesome. Great advice. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate the partnership. Again, if you have any questions or interest in this, you can find the information on walshcollege.edu, and we'll share it in the post as well. So,
Thanks for having me, Erik.
Thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Yep.
Have a good one.
You too.
Thank you.